What is going on, guys? So it's another day at the Bearded Panda Fab Shop. Logo something up there. And of course, I have Gabe's XB back here, just getting wet sanded and buffed. Sponsorship blip here. The project that we're working on right now here. And I figured, I started working on this and I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity for a good video. So I started recording and I figured I'd share with you guys. Of course, I've already kind of worked ahead, but I'll back up a little bit and kind of go to what we're talking about. So here we have Williams Lancier. And another lip order over there. Lots of stuff going on. So like, believe it or not, this Lancier has been kind of like nudged in the front, bumped or whatever you want to call it. So it's been kind of fixed up. So this bumper kind of came in. The fiberglass, I can tell, it might be sprayed. I'm not quite sure, but this is fiberglass. And it's not that bad of quality, believe it or not. The only issue that I had is the way it fit around the headlight. So I actually got that fixed up. I had to re-fiberglass that entire section because what happened is it was hitting the headlight. The design around the headlight wasn't all that great. And then this section right here didn't really like fit underneath. Now, I don't necessarily know if that was because of the accident on the car or because of the actual headlights, but the headlights fit pretty decent, so I'm sure it just was one of those ordeals. So believe it or not, right now, this is sitting in a Krylon gloss white. It matches the actual car pretty decent like, except the fact that it's not as shiny. But that's okay. William just decided that he wanted to take the time to at least have it rocking in a white over a primer. So if you actually look at the hood, lines come up pretty nice. Same thing here. And then, so when I actually did this, I actually took the time to do like a satin black in the middle. Of course, we painted the actual emblem. And we inserted these grills right here. So they're actually like liquid nailed in. So on the back side, I actually bent these grills, shaped them up, believe it or not. Let's see. Turn this bad boy around. I actually even put one inside that little spot. So of course, like he uses this as a daily driver. It's already taken a little bit of road beating, but that's okay. Like all in all, it still looks great from far away. Yeah, even up close, it looks good. So initially what started this episode is right here. So William had bought these side skirts, and I'll show them to you right now. He bought them from eBay, and I know a lot of people are victims of eBay buying. You have the opportunity to getting stuff for pretty cheap, but there's no liability behind it, okay? But before he actually bought those side skirts ahead of time when he got a hold of this bumper, but during the time of, his side skirt fell off. And it was just because whoever like repainted the car, touched up the car, didn't install the side skirts right. So we figured what best opportunity but now to go ahead and install the side skirt. So this is a side skirt that he brought in. Very nice design. It's going to go with the bumper pretty nice like. It's going to like go with the fact that his front bumper comes a little lower and he's got that little rear diffuser splitter back there. And so he figured, you know what, it's time to bring the side skirt a little down to kind of compensate the height of this front and rear bumper. Now, the only issue with these side skirts, of course, I call it a eBay bullying, I guess you could say. So a lot of people go on, they sell their product, cool design, but this is like that heat plastic technique to where what they do is they make a mold, they put a piece of like fine plastic on top of the mold, but before placing it on the mold, they heat it up. And so when they heat it up, they go throw it on the mold. The mold bottom surface has like a bunch of little holes drilled into it, almost like one of those boards, the peg boards where you go and you hang the little hooks and you can hang your little items. I'll show you a picture here in a minute, or a video here in a minute. And so what they do is that's the surface, and they have like a vacuuming to the bottom of that platform. And so when they throw on this hot plastic on top of the mold, they close the lid, it then creates a suction and then makes that plastic form to that mold, which isn't a bad thing. The only issue with that is the plastic becomes very thin, a little like brittle, and honestly, I don't feel like it's strong enough to hold up to daily road driving. But let's go ahead and look at this like side skirt up close. So this is the kind of pegboard that I'm talking about. Now, this one is black because I've taken the time to spray paint it black. But you see how it's got these little hooks? So these hooks are pretty much like, or this board is pretty much the platform that they're making on the bottom to create that suction. I've already taken the time to do some work to this actual side skirt. Here I've had to reinforce it. It had a big wave right here. So what I'm doing is I like first tested the plastic to make sure that it could take chemical abuse, I guess you could say. And so I figured out, like I did a small little sample to see if it could take fiberglass and the fiberglass resin. Of course, I'm using a poly resin, pretty much almost like Bondo, but it's just a nicer brand. It's one that they actually use for boating. It's the one that we also use for our product here. And so, yeah, so I figured, you know what, let me use a little bit of Bondo glass on this side to go ahead and kind of fill in this big dip that was here. Now this section had a bunch of cracks. There was a crack here that came across, another crack here. And like I've said, it's just because they're overstretching this plastic when they're putting it onto the board and or onto the mold and through the suction of the board. But you see, so now the only reason why it's gained some more stability is because of the fact that I fixed those cracks. But if I took the time here, I could easily stretch it up. It's not very strong. It's definitely not as strong as polyurethane, but I'm not quite sure how it handles up to like Texas heat or like other states like Florida and their heat. Okay, so here's the bottom side. It has like these little mounting spots, which I guess you have to use your own little screws. But you see here, look at how flexible it is. It's just overly flexible and very, very thin. So I can't imagine it being able to survive a bunch, like, you know, 80 miles per hour, 70 miles an hour. Now here also was another big chunk that was missing. So like basically the plastic came up to here, and then this whole section here was completely gone. So I've taken the time to reinforce it, or actually recreate it with layers of fiberglass. So that's what added the strength. You can kind of see through it. So what I'm gonna do for William, for my bud here, is of course you want to take the time to sand down this inner side. And you know, so that way the fiberglass has something to grip onto. So I'm going to reinforce this entire skirt with fiberglass. So that way it has strength, or at least the bottom surface and the top surface. The face doesn't really act this too much, so I technically don't need to do the face, but I definitely need to reinforce the front and rear side of the skirt. So here's another section here, and this one was just blown up. So I had a crack that came across here, a crack here, a crack that went down here. So I took the time to kind of like hold it all together and reinforce it again, like I said, with fiberglass. So I did the fiberglassing on the inside, put some Bondo glass on the outside. It's not really Bondo glass, but like Bondo glass, you know, same kind of deal. You could do it at home with that kind of stuff. It's a good product. And so then I reinforced that. It's gained some strength. I mean, I can't even flex it now. So, and that's okay. Like I want it to that point. And so all I got to do is after like I reinforce the bottom, the top, the sides, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the surface. And believe it or not, the surface isn't too bad. It's got a couple of nicks here and there, but once I get it all done, it'll be fine and dandy. And of course, you know, just a DIY, you know, and also, you know, for my bud's sake, he doesn't want to take the time to paint them all nice because he's going to repaint this entire car. But for now, while he's driving it, he'd prefer it instead of in primer, or instead of like, you know, like looking all random parts put together or in this black color. We decided to go ahead and just kind of spray it with the Krylon gloss that kind of matches the color. So let's keep going at it. Okay, so here's an example piece. Like I said, I've already started fiberglassing this one to make it stronger. But here's a piece, I don't know if you can see, but it's like all cracked right there. So it's got a big crack there. It's a little wavy up here. It's got another huge crack there, which I've already started fiberglassing. Of course, I'll reinforce it on the bottom. And it's got like a bunch of cracks here. Like this thing, like, seems like it just exploded in this general area. And that's because when they're stretching this plastic, they're pushing it to its limit. It's almost like a piece of metal when you're heating it, and like bending it and stretching it. They have their limit. So that's what happened on this plastic. They just pretty much stretched it, and it like caused it to dry and crack there because they've already over pressured it. Same thing with glass and everything else. You just got these sensitive spots. So we've got to take the time to reinforce that now. All right, so here it is, all in primer. Got the primer wet sanded. And on these, what I did was I went ahead and put a screw there, screw here. I'm going to put some double-sided sticky tape in here, some underneath this lip to see how well it holds. And so right now, it'll probably get sprayed white. And you know, just to see the kind of work that was done, all of this was fiberglassed in here, fiberglassed here, along to the edge of that side, and then reinforced under here, where like all of it was just a little wobbly. But now it's pretty solid little skirt. So, yep, now to get it painted white and get it thrown back on the car. All right, folks, so it's pretty much said and done. Now, like the front bumper and the side skirts and the rear bumper and rear diffuser, it's all painted with this Krylon gloss spray paint. And of course, it's not as glossy as, you know, if you put a clear coat over your paint, but it's not too shabby. We also put the side-mounted license plate holder there. And let's go talk about the skirts. You know, that's what this whole video is about. Okay, so here they are. I did a front tap screw on the front, which also uses a stock style screw. Now the side skirt, now that it's structurally sound and strengthened with the fiberglass, it doesn't need a whole lot of screws all across it or anything like that. Just some double-sided sticky tape on the top. On the rear, I also did the rolling of the fenders, and then I did 2 mounting screws on the rear, kind of like here. Let's go look at them. Okay, so here it is. You have the stock style screws on top, one right there and one on the bottom, and that just prevents it from wobbling around everywhere. So yeah, not too shabby, you know, like it's coming a long way. You know, he started off with this a couple of months ago, and he's starting to love it, like, or showing it some love. I said it's a budget build at the moment. So little by little, he's saving up, and he's gonna go and get everything worked on and pieced together and paint it all one color. What? Are you wearing matching glasses because there's a white car in the back? Come on now. This is just style. So anyhow, so yep, thanks for following. Thanks for watching. If you guys kind of like what you saw, if you have any questions, hit the comments down below. Thumbs up if you did enjoy the fast project of a do-it-yourself with a, I guess, unhappy eBay purchase, right? On how it's pretty easy to fix if you've got the knowledge and the know-how. And go ahead and hit follow, hit the little bell, you know, so you can get alerts. And I just want to take the time to thank you guys for giving the support and watching this video. You guys take it easy.